Hey everybody, it's Saratoga, and this is your weekly focus card reading for the week beginning May 25th through May 31st, 2020. Now this card deck has messages from the angels, and by the way, if you guys ever want to know the name of the deck that I'm using on any given week, I always leave the name of the deck and the author in the description below the video. Okay, so let's take a look at this card. Another amazing card for where we are in our earthly journey here in the midst of all of the chaos. So this card says, be honest with yourself. And one other thing I want to mention, if anything about this card strikes you as having personal meaning for you as an individual, feel free to interpret it that way for yourself, because what I'm going to be talking about is a general reading for everybody in the collective. So you can create your own additional meaning to this that is specific to you as an individual, if that's what you enjoy doing. All right, now I'm going to read what this card says to you because it's a little hard to see because the print is so small. It says, be honest with yourself. Look into your heart and you will know the truth of this situation. It's safe to admit the truth to yourself, for we, meaning the angels, will support and guide you through any necessary changes. Lean upon us for courage and the strength to take good care of yourself. Focus only upon your true desires and they'll come to you upon angels' wings. Now I'm going to put the meaning of this card in a much more expanded context. I'm not going to interpret this card in the sense of individual person's circumstances. I want to put this in the context of our planetary situation. And this is one of the reasons I think this card is so significant. So let's take a look at the image for a moment, and then I'll say more about the words on the card. So here's a woman who's looking very anxious. She looks kind of fearful. She's protecting her heart. She's very much covered. You get the feeling that she's just overly covered, right? And she does have angel wings, but she's not really, she doesn't appear as you would expect an angel to appear, because an angel would appear to be powerful and strong and confident and full of light and love and happiness. Whereas this woman doesn't appear to realize that she's an angel. Now, to me, what this means is this isn't necessarily about being an angel. The wings to me symbolize the fact that the truth is that we are infinite beings. That's who we really are. We are infinite, powerful cosmic creators, you guys. That's what the wings symbolize, the truth of who we are. But the image of the woman is kind of depicts the overall state of our human collective, one of anxiety and fear and trying to protect ourselves and not really knowing what's going on and being overly covered, overly repressed, because that's what the coverings on her body, her entire body, make me think of repression, suppression, because, you know, her clothing is a bit dark, right? So there's a very powerful message here about being honest with yourself. And it means, and be honest with the truth of this situation. And the card says, look into your heart and you will know the truth of this situation. So if we look at our global crisis right now, we are getting messages all over the place through the media, which is causing tremendous confusion, which is causing us to create exactly the reality that we do not want, because those are the images that are constantly being put into our minds. Those are the impressions that are constantly being put into our minds. And then we reflect those images back to one another. So it just amplifies the entire situation. Your heart is the only place that you can go to find out the truth. And I'll tell you what the truth is in a nutshell. There are more and more people that I've encountered that are saying, this is not okay. What is being done on this earth is not okay. That's a very simple statement, but that means that to me is a sign of waking up. It's a sign of awakening to the fact that no, this really is not okay. It is not okay to be locked down and suppressed and have your mouth covered and, you know, all the stuff that's going on. It's not okay. Your heart will tell you that it's not okay. Your heart will tell you that you really want to be free. You want to be happy. You want to feel alive and creative and empowered. And that's the truth. Now, the card says it's safe to admit the truth to yourself. We, as human beings on this earth, are often afraid to admit to ourselves the truth of our situation. And this is the reason why, you guys. We're often afraid to admit the truth because we feel hopeless, because we don't feel that there's any way out. And that's because we think all there is this earthly situation. So in that sense, sure, if you want to stay limited to that perspective, you can indeed have a probably very real experience that there's no way out. So what is the way out? What is it that makes it safe to admit the truth to yourself that this is not okay on any level? To really embrace that. What makes it safe is when you expand your consciousness to a cosmic level. So the message says, we will support and guide you through any necessary changes. Now, I'm not going to take that message as just only being an angelic message, because I think it's also a message from those who are probably, the word that comes to mind for me is our extraterrestrial counterparts, okay? Especially if you're a light worker or a starseed. Let's just refer to it as an angelic message, not only from angelic sources, but also from our extraterrestrial counterparts in the cosmos. We're not alone. We've been lied to for centuries and told there's nothing out there. It is not the truth. You can just go to your plain old common sense and figure that one out. Okay, so it says, lean upon us for courage and the strength to take good care of yourself. Another important message, the strength to take good care of yourself. The conditions that we're under can make it very difficult to take good care of yourself, especially if you start feeling hopeless or depressed. So it probably means we're going to have to make a renewed effort at self-care. And what is self-care? We have to take self-care to a completely different level than we ever did before. Because before we had the freedom to do pretty much whatever we wanted in terms of our earthly situation. But now all of this fear and anger and repression and suppression is creating a very, very unhealthy energy. So as an aside to this particular message, I also want to suggest that you take some time to reset your idea of self-care. Because self-care has to have a standard with it. And let's go to the last line on this card to address that. Focus only upon your true desires, and they'll come to you upon angel's wings. Focus only upon your true desires. So self-care, you need to reset your standard for self-care, because what's happening on planet Earth right now is our standards are being dramatically lowered. And because of all the fear and anxiety and the anger and the suppression, that is hugely lowering the human vibration on this planet. We cannot allow, and then we're told, of course, well, that's the new normal, right? We can't let that be our new normal on a vibrational level. We cannot settle for feeling miserable, depressed, or repressed. We cannot settle for that. We need to reset. Here's a great idea, you guys. Let's reset our standard to a level that is higher than it was before all this stuff happened. Let's go to a higher standard of self-care, a higher standard of health for ourselves. So that is going to mean to rethink everything that you're doing in your own life. What can you eliminate? What can you add on? What new habits can you begin to cultivate? Here's why this is so important, you guys, because we are cosmic beings. We need to start manifesting as the empowered cosmic beings that we are on this planet. That is the only viable response to what is going on. Because each of us are in a physical earth body, that earth body is our medium of expression. It is the medium through which our energy and our power and our consciousness flows outward into the world. Therefore, this medium that we each occupy, called our physical body, needs to be as much as possible in an optimal state of health, which is also a very high vibrational state. So on an energetic level, it's a high vibration, and on what we refer to as a physical level, it's a state of optimal health. So I don't know what each of you have as your situation in whatever country you live in, but wherever you are, you need to find creative ways to upgrade your health, raise your vibration, get your energy clear on a regular basis. Don't let this global, it's a lockdown that's more than physical, you guys. It's an energy lockdown. It's a lockdown of our life force. That which is responsible for this whole thing is not more powerful than we are. We just think it is. Okay, so step one is be honest with yourself about the situation. You must be honest or you will not be able to respond effectively. Being honest with yourself means having integrity. And I know this is a bit long, but I think this is really important. Integrity. What are you going to have integrity to? Are you going to have integrity to your old self that was conditioned and brainwashed in this conveyor belt way of life? Are you going to have integrity to that old self? Because if you are, you're going to find it collapsing. There's no power in that old version of self that wasn't even the true self after all. So the integrity, which is about being honest with yourself, it starts with being honest with yourself, is integrity to your heart. It is integrity to who you really are and what you know to be true in your heart, in an uncompromised way. You do not have to compromise what is in your heart. I don't care what the governments say. I don't care what anybody says, you guys. Your heart is your private, sacred portal to the universe, to your divine self, to that which creates the entire omniverse. That is your personal private portal to all that is. There's no reason in the world for you to feel any need whatsoever to compromise what you feel in your heart. So I think that pretty much does it. Oh, one more thing. I want to mention the stone I have here. You'll see there's a lavender stone at the bottom underneath the card here. This stone is called lepidolite. Lepidolite is it's a beautiful stone for calming frayed nerves. It reduces stress and worry. It's really a stone of serenity. It's very good for balancing the emotions and calming the mind. So I feel like the energy of this stone is so important just to bring us to that calm place, because when we feel calm, it's much easier to connect with your heart. It's much easier to be honest with yourself. So that is our weekly focus card reading for this week. I'm wishing all of you a beautiful week ahead, sending you so much love. Namaste, everyone.